The war chamber of the alien empire was silent, not because of fear. It was silent because there was nothing left to say. Across the wide curved walls, its enormous holographic screens glowed with calm blue light. Star systems appeared one after another, each marked with the same symbol. Victory, the symbols stretched across the galaxy like a perfect pattern. Every war, every battle, every enemy. The outcome never changed. The alien commanders stood in their places, tall and still, their armor polished and unmarked. Some had lived for hundreds of years. Others had commanded fleets since before entire species were born. None of them had ever seen defeat. At the center of the chamber, High Strategist Karith studied the final report. His many eyes moved slowly, not because he needed time to understand, but because habit demanded caution. Wars were routine. Conquest was expected. Order followed destruction. That was the way of the Empire. Campaign complete, a voice announced. Resistance eliminated. No cheers followed. There never were. Victory was normal. Karith turned away from the report. Begin preparation for the next expansion, he said calmly. Before the order could be repeated, a low sound echoed through the chamber. A tone no one had heard in generations. An alert. Several commanders turned at once. The screens flickered, replacing victory symbols with raw data. Broken signals, incomplete scans, unstable readings. Karith narrowed his eyes. Explain, he said. A junior analyst stepped forward, its posture stiff with confusion. A patrol fleet encountered an unregistered species near the outer spiral. The engagement did not conclude as expected. The chamber grew colder. Karith raised one claw. Did the patrol succeed? The analyst hesitated. That pause alone felt wrong. The patrol withdrew, it said carefully. A ripple of unease passed through the commanders. Withdraw was not a word used lightly. Alien fleets did not retreat. They advanced until nothing remained. Withdrawn, Karith repeated. For what reason? Damage, the analyst replied. Unexpected resistance. Adaptive tactics? The screen shifted again. Footage played. Small ships appeared, human ships, simple in design, rough at the edges. They burned as alien weapons struck them. Hulls cracked, engines failed. By all calculations, the humans should have broken within minutes. They did not. The footage sped up. Human ships changed formation mid-battle. Wounded vessels blocked incoming fire to protect others. New weapons activated, crude but effective. Some ships exploded on purpose, taking alien vessels with them. Karith watched closely. These beings, he said, are losing. Yes, the analyst replied, severely. Then why did the patrol withdraw? The analyst swallowed. Because the humans did not stop fighting. Silence returned, but it was different now. The footage continued. Human ships retreated not in panic, but in order. Even while pulling back, they transmitted data, recording every hit, every failure, every alien movement. They were learning. Karith felt something unfamiliar press against his thoughts. Not fear, not yet. Something closer to interest? What are they called? He asked. The analyst checked its console. They call themselves humans, from a system labeled Soul. Karith turned to the council. What level of technology? Low standard, another commander said. No match for us. Unity. Divided multiple governments. Frequent internal conflict. Then why, Karith asked slowly, did they survive first contact? No one answered. The screen shifted again. Final image appeared. A human transmission intercepted during the retreat. The signal was damaged, filled with static. But the audio remained. A human voice spoke, strained but steady. We're outgunned, it said.
Ow.
But now we know how they fight. Fall back. We'll be ready next time, the message ended. Karith felt the chamber tighten around him. They expected next time, he said. Yes, the analyst replied. That was wrong. Every species begged. Every species tried to negotiate. Every species broke. Humans planned. Karith raised his claw. Full analysis. I want everything. Their history, their wars, their failures. One commander stepped forward. High strategist, this seems unnecessary. They lost the battle. Yes, Kareth agreed. They did. He watched the frozen image of damaged human ships, drifting but not dead. But they did not accept the loss. The chamber lights dimmed slightly as new data streams poured in. Human archives, broken records. Wars fought with stone, steel, fire, and stars. Civilizations rising and falling. Extinctions survived. Mistakes repeated and corrected. Kareth felt the pressure grow. These creatures destroy themselves, Commander said. They are unstable, yet they continue, Kareth replied. He looked back at the council. Prepare an invasion fleet, he ordered. Total force, no restraint. A pause. But mark this, he continued. This is not a routine conquest. The commanders straightened. For the first time, Kareth said, we face a species that does not measure victory the same way we do. The screens faded to black dot. Far away in the Sol system, human shipyards burned through the night. Damaged vessels were torn apart, studied, rebuilt. Engineers argued, soldiers trained. Commanders replayed the battle again and again. They knew they had lost. And they knew something else, too. The next battle would be different. And somewhere in the dark between stars, the alien empire prepared to win and aware that this was the moment their perfect record began to break. The galaxy had learned a long time ago how the alien empire worked. First came the signal, then the fleet, then silence. Entire civilizations vanished in the same pattern. Some fought. Some begged. Some tried to trade worlds for mercy. None of it mattered. The aliens did not hate. They did not enjoy destruction. They simply removed obstacles. Records across the galaxy told the same story. The first battles were short. The last battles were pointless. The survivors, if any remained, became warnings for others. Surrender early, or disappear completely. That was why the name of the alien empire was spoken softly, even in secure rooms. It was why border systems stayed quiet, and why species built their defenses facing inward instead of outward. No one believed resistance worked. No one except humans. High strategist Kareth stood alone in a secondary chamber, watching history unfold on floating screens. The data stream moved through thousands of years in minutes. Species after species appeared, rose, and fell. One species had powerful weapons. They lasted 3 battles. Another had strong shields. They lasted 5. A third tried deception, false retreats, and traps. They lasted longer than most. 12 battles. Kareth paused the feed. Every species shared one mistake. They fought to protect what they had. Humans did not. The human records were chaotic. There was no clean timeline. Wars overlapped. Alliances broke and reformed. Enemies became partners. Partners became enemies. It looked inefficient, wasteful. But humans were still there. Kareth studied early human wars. Stone against stone. Then metal. Then fire. Then machines. Every time humans faced something stronger, they changed. Slowly at first, then faster, they lost cities. They lost millions. They lost entire worlds in later ages. And yet they kept going. A junior strategist entered the chamber. High strategist, it said. Our analysts confirm human technology is inferior in every major category. Kareth did not look away from the screen. And yet, he replied, they survived contact. The strategist hesitated. We believe it was luck. Kareth turned. Luck does not repeat itself across history. The screen shifted again, showing the first alien-human battle from multiple angles. The human fleet broke formation almost immediately. Alien weapons cut through them with ease, by all known logic. The humans should have panicked. Instead, they adapted. They stopped trying to hold formation. They stopped protecting command ships. They stopped fighting like a unified force. Small groups acted alone. Some attacked directly. Some fled on purpose to draw pursuit. Others sacrificed themselves without orders. It was disorder, but it worked. Not enough to win. enough to survive. Humans do not fight clean wars. Kareth said quietly. They are inefficient, the strategist replied. They are flexible. Kareth corrected. He dismissed the strategist and continued alone. More human history appeared. Plagues that killed billions. Environmental collapse. Artificial disasters created by humans themselves. Each time, humans came close to ending their own species. Each time, they pulled back. They changed laws, changed cultures, changed technology. Sometimes too late for many, but never too late for all. Kareth felt a strange tension forming. The alien empire valued perfection. Every plan was tested until failure was nearly impossible. Mistakes were removed, not corrected. Humans did the opposite. They failed first, then learned that difference was small and dangerous. Elsewhere in the Empire, commanders prepared the invasion fleet. This time, there would be no patrol force, no observation, no limited engagement. This would be overwhelming power. Fleet after fleet assembled. Ships larger than human cities. Weapons that cracked planets. Commanders spoke with certainty. Humans were weak, divided. Their survival meant nothing. They will break, one commander said. All species do. Kareth watched silently. At the edge of the human systems, alarms rang. The invasion had not yet arrived, but its shadow already moved across space. Humans detected energy signatures larger than anything they had ever seen. Fear spread fast, some human governments argued. Some demanded retreat. Some wanted surrender. Others remembered the first battle. Human commanders met in underground rooms and orbiting stations. They spoke openly. They did not hide losses. They did not promise victory. We can't win head-on, one said. Then we don't fight head-on, another replied. Engineers tore alien weapons apart in simulations. Scientists replayed alien movement patterns. Soldiers trained for boarding actions they might never survive. Civilians helped too. Factories changed production overnight. Old ships were rebuilt instead of replaced. Nothing was wasted. Human news channels showed destruction, not propaganda. People knew the truth. They were outmatched. But they were not done. Kareth received the final readiness report. The invasion fleet was complete. He stood before the council. Humans will lose the coming battles, said. The council nodded. That was expected, but understand this, Kareth continued. They will not respond as others have. How so? A commander asked. They will not seek surrender, Kareth said. They will seek understanding. The council remained confident. Kareth was not far across the galaxy. The invasion fleet moved, and on countless human worlds. People prepared to lose on purpose, because humans had learned something long before the aliens ever noticed them. Winning a battle was optional. Surviving it was not. The invasion did not begin with warnings, it began with fire. Alien ships entered human space like a dark tide, blocking stars and bending light around their massive hulls. Their arrival alone damaged satellites and crippled communication systems. Entire human worlds went silent in seconds. On the colony world of Argon 7, the sky burned. Human defense stations opened fire first. The shots were brave, fast, and useless. Alien shields absorbed everything. The return fire came without emotion. Cities vanished in white light. Oceans boiled at the edges. Millions died before alarms finished sounding from orbit. The alien commanders recorded the battle. Human resistance collapsing, one reported calmly. On the ground. Human soldiers fought anyway. They knew they could not win. Orders had been clear long before the fleet arrived. Delay. Observe. Learn. Small human units attacked alien landing forces, not to stop them, but to force reactions. Every movement was recorded. Every alien response was timed. Humans died buying seconds instead of ground. When the aliens adjusted, humans adjusted too. On Argon 7, the aliens claimed victory in less than 1 standard hour. The planet was marked as neutralized, but the humans had already left. Escape ships fled in dozens of directions. Some were destroyed. Some vanished into debris fields. Others jumped blindly, damaging their own engines just to leave. From the alien view, it was chaos. From the human view, it was data. High Strategist Kareth reviewed the reports aboard the flagship. Casualties. Extreme, an officer replied. Human losses are near total on several worlds. And alien losses. Minimal. Kareth nodded. That was expected, then. He noticed something. Why are they abandoning worlds so quickly? He asked. They cannot defend them, the officer said. Kareth leaned closer to the screen. No, they are abandoning them early. The footage showed human evacuation ships leaving before full engagement. Supplies destroyed on purpose. Infrastructure burned by their own people. Nothing left to capture. They are denying us value, Kareth said quietly. Yes, the officer agreed, but it changes nothing. Kareth was not convinced. On another world, Kesh Prime, humans tried a different approach. They did not defend the planet at all. Instead, they waited in space as the alien fleet moved in. Human ships appeared from behind moons, asteroids, and debris fields. They attacked supply vessels, not warships. They fired strange weapons that damaged sensors instead of hulls. The aliens responded with precision. Human ships were destroyed one by one, but the alien fleet slowed. For the first time, the invasion timetable slipped. Kareth noticed again. They are not trying to stop us, he said. They are trying to shape us. What does that mean? A commander asked. They want us to respond in specific ways, Kareth replied. And we are. The commander dismissed the concern. They are losing. Yes, Kareth said. Very well. Across human space, the same pattern repeated. Humans lost every major battle. Planets fell. Fleets burned. Casualty numbers climbed higher than any war in human history. There were protests, panic, and grief. Some governments collapsed under the pressure. But something else happened. Human coordination improved. Tactics spread faster. Mistakes were shared openly. A failure on one world became a lesson for 10 others. Human forces began to predict alien movements, not because they understood alien strategy, but because they understood patterns. Aliens always chose the cleanest path. Humans did not. On the moon of Taralas, humans staged what looked like a desperate last stand. They gathered outdated ships and sent them straight at an alien task force. The aliens destroyed them easily. Then the real attack began. Human drones, hidden inside the wreckage, activated. They carried no weapons, only transmitters. They mapped shield frequencies, weapon cycles, and response delays. The entire attack lasted less than 5 minutes, but the data changed everything, Kareth. Received the report hours later. Human forces engaged. Without strategic value, an officer said, "Show me." Kareth replied. He watched the footage. Then he saw it. They never intended to win, he said. The officer paused. Then why attack at all? Kareth answered slowly, because losing taught them more than winning would have. For the first time, alien commanders began to feel something uncomfortable. Uncertainty. Humans began modifying their weapons in the middle of the war. They stopped building new designs and started altering old ones. Crude changes, ugly changes, effective changes. Alien ships still won battles. But damage reports increased. Repair times lengthened. Supply lines were attacked more often. Human ambushes became harder to predict. The war was still one-sided, but it was no longer simple. Kareth stood alone later, staring at a map of human space. Red markers showed conquered systems. They spread fast. But behind them, something moved. Human activity increased in the shadows. Hidden shipyards. Mobile bases. Fleets that vanished when scanned. They are retreating forward, Kareth realized. They were giving ground to gain time, and time Kareth understood was something humans used better than anyone else. The aliens had won every battle, so far, but for the first time in their long history. Each victory felt heavier than the last, because humans were losing exactly the way they wanted to. The war entered a strange phase. On every official record, the alien empire was winning. Human worlds continued to fall. Human fleets were destroyed faster than they could be built. By every measure the aliens had used for thousands of years. The outcome was already decided, and yet, the war did not feel finished. High strategist Kareth noticed it first in the reports. Victories were still coming, but they were slower. Cleaner battles had become rare. Every engagement now carried small surprises, minor damage, delayed responses. Unexpected costs. Nothing serious, but nothing comfortable either. On the human side, the idea of victory had quietly changed. Human commanders no longer spoke about winning battles. They spoke about surviving them. They spoke about forcing mistakes, creating pressure, and trading space for knowledge. On the world of Rhiannon, humans prepared another defense. It looked familiar. Weak ships, old weapons, limited numbers. Alien scouts reported no unusual activity. The invasion fleet moved in confidently, as expected. Human ships advanced to meet them, manned or destroyed. Then something different happened. The remaining human ships did not retreat. They scattered. Some fled toward empty space. Others dove toward the planet's atmosphere. A few cut engines entirely and drifted like debris. The alien commanders hesitated for a fraction of a second. That was enough. Hidden mines activated in deep space. Not near the planet, but far behind the alien fleet. Supply ships vanished in sudden explosions. Communication relays blinked out. The main fleet remained intact, but its support was damaged. The aliens still won the battle, but they left. Rhiannon later than planned. Kareth reviewed the engagement carefully. They forced us to protect our rear, he said. That was their only goal, Commander responded. It did not change the result. No, Kareth agreed. It changed the process. Humans were no longer reacting. They were guiding. Across multiple systems, the same pattern appeared. Humans attacked where aliens did not expect. They ignored strong targets and struck weak ones. They accepted losses without hesitation if it gained them information. Alien commanders followed doctrine. Humans broke theirs daily. On the alien side, frustration began to appear in small ways. Repair crews worked longer hours. Fleets waited for supplies that arrived late. Commanders argued over responses to human harassment. Nothing was failing, but nothing was perfect anymore, Kareth noticed something else too. Human morale was not collapsing. Human cities were burning. Billions were displaced. And yet human communication networks did not fill with surrender requests. Instead, they filled with instructions, warnings, and shared failures. One message appeared again and again across human channels. Learn faster. On a remote asteroid belt, humans set a trap that seemed almost careless. A small fleet waited openly, broadcasting weak signals. Alien sensors detected them easily. The alien commander smiled. This would be simple. The fleet advanced. Human ships fired first. The shots were inaccurate, weak, a clear sign of panic. The alien fleet returned fire and destroyed most of them. Then the remaining human ships detonated their own reactors. The explosion did not damage the alien fleet, but it flooded the area with radiation, debris, and false signals. Sensors failed. Navigation systems struggled. For several minutes, the alien fleet was blind. In that time, nothing attacked them. Nothing happened at all. When systems came back online, the humans were gone. No ambush. No follow, dash up. Just silence. The alien commander reported the incident as human desperation. Kareth marked it as human testing. Later, the Empire discovered that similar sensor disruptions had been recreated across human space using better timing, better placement, and better results. Humans had practiced. On the human side, training had changed. Soldiers no longer trained for clean victories. They trained for loss. Simulations focused on broken communication, missing leaders, and impossible odds. Human officers encouraged improvisation. If the plan fails, one commander said, "Good. Now we see what you do next." The alien empire did not understand this mindset. Alien commanders punished failure. Humans studied it. That difference widened every day. Kareth stood before a large map showing human territory. It was smaller now, much smaller. But behind the front lines, human activity increased. Fleets appeared briefly, struck, and vanished. Attacks came from unexpected angles. Human weapons were still weaker but better aimed. One alien commander approached Kareth privately. "High strategist," he said. "Permission to adjust doctrine?" Kareth turned slowly. That request alone was rare. "What adjustment?" he asked. "Greater caution," the commander replied. "Humans are unpredictable." Kareth studied him. "Do you fear them?" "No," the commander said quickly, "but I no longer dismiss them." Kareth nodded once. That was enough. The aliens had always believed that wars were decided by strength. Humans believed wars were decided by learning, and now, for the first time, the alien empire was fighting an enemy that grew stronger with every loss. The battles continued. The aliens kept winning, but somewhere deep in the war records, a quiet truth was forming one the empire had never faced before. Humans were not trying to stop the alien advance. They were trying to make it hurt, and they were succeeding. The breaking point did not come with a great victory. It came with a mistake. The alien empire advanced into the Helios corridor, a narrow stretch of space filled with dead stars, dust clouds, and broken worlds. Human resistance there had been light for weeks. Too light. Alien scouts reported scattered signals, weak fleets, and abandoned stations. Nothing that suggested danger. High strategist Kareth studied the corridor map in silence. The route was efficient. It shortened supply lines and allowed faster movement toward the human core systems. Efficiency had always been enough. "Proceed," the council ordered. The fleet entered the corridor in perfect formation. At first, nothing happened. Human ships appeared briefly at the edges of sensor range, then vanished. No attacks. No traps. Just movement. Alien commanders relaxed. Then the corridor closed. Human forces activated devices hidden months earlier, simple machines, crude by alien standards. They did not explode. They did not fire weapons. They bent space just enough. Jump points collapsed. Communication lagged. The corridor became a tunnel with only one way forward and no easy way back. The alien fleet continued advancing. That was the second mistake. At the center of the corridor, human forces waited. Not a large fleet. Not a powerful one. A prepared one. Human ships emerged from every direction at once. Some were old. Some were patched together from wreckage. None of them tried to face the alien warships directly. They attacked the edges. Supply ships burned first. Repair vessels followed. Command ships were targeted with coordinated strikes that forced shields to cycle repeatedly. Alien weapons destroyed human ships in return. As always, humans lost more. But the humans did not retreat. They pressed closer. They boarded. Human soldiers crossed into alien vessels using damaged airlocks, emergency breaches, and even shattered hulls. They fought in small groups, without orders, without retreat plans. Alien soldiers were stronger, faster, better trained, but they were not ready for enemies who did not care if they lived. Human boarding teams destroyed control rooms, power nodes, and navigation systems. They did not hold ground. They sabotaged and moved on. Alien ships began to drift. Kareth watched the battle unfold in disbelief. "This is inefficient," a commander said. "They are wasting lives." No, Kareth replied. "They are spending them." The battle lasted longer than any previous engagement. Alien fleets still destroyed most of the human ships. But damage reports flooded in. Entire sections of the fleet were disabled instead of destroyed. Ships that should have moved forward were stuck, powerless and silent. Then something happened that had never happened before. An alien commander ordered a retreat. The order echoed across the fleet. Confusion followed. Retreat protocols were clean and simple. They assumed clear space, stable communication, and intact jump points. None of those were available. Human forces struck harder during the retreat than they had during the attack. They targeted engines. They overloaded systems already damaged. They blocked escape paths using debris and wreckage. The corridor became a graveyard, not of alien ships destroyed, but of alien ships trapped. When the battle finally ended, the aliens still held the field. But they had lost something far more important: momentum. The Empire called the battle a victory. Kareth did not. He stood alone, reviewing casualty reports. Alien losses were still far lower than human losses, but the numbers no longer told the full story. Repair time had tripled. Supply delays had spread to other fronts. Commanders reported hesitation in decision-making. Fleets waited for confirmation before advancing. The Empire was slowing down. Humans had achieved what no enemy ever had. They had forced the aliens to think twice. On the human side, the cost was terrible. Entire fleets were gone. Thousands of soldiers never returned. Families received messages that ended with silence. There were no celebrations, only understanding. Human commanders gathered to review the battle. They spoke quietly. "We didn't win," one said. "No," another replied. But they felt it. That was enough. Across the galaxy, alien commanders began to change behavior. Fleets stayed closer together. Routes were adjusted. Supplies were guarded more heavily. These changes made the Empire safer. They also made it slower. Kareth addressed the Council again. "This enemy cannot be crushed through force alone," he said. "They adapt too quickly." The Council reacted with disbelief. "We are still winning," one said. "Yes," Kareth agreed, "but they are changing the cost of victory." Silence followed. The Council had never measured cost beyond resources and time. Humans measured it differently. They measured how much pressure the enemy could endure. And now, for the first time, the alien empire was under pressure. Far from the Helios corridor, on a damaged human station, a single message was broadcast across surviving human channels. It was simple: they can bleed. That message spread faster than fear ever had. Humans still lost battles. But now every loss carried purpose. And the alien empire, for the first time in its long history, faced a truth it did not know how to fight. Humans did not need to win today. They only needed to make sure the aliens could not forget them tomorrow. The alien empire did not panic. It adjusted. After the Helios corridor, new rules spread through alien fleets. Commanders were ordered to slow their advance. Supply ships traveled with heavier escorts. Boarding defenses were strengthened. Routes were chosen with care instead of speed. On paper, these changes improved safety. In reality, they changed something far more important. The Empire stopped acting with certainty. High strategist Kareth saw it clearly. He watched reports arrive later than expected. He noticed hesitation in commanders who once acted without question. Orders were followed, but no longer with confidence. The humans had not defeated the Empire. They had infected it with doubt. Kareth demanded deeper study of human behavior. Not weapons. Not fleets. Mindsets. Alien analysts examined human records again, this time with new questions. They stopped asking how humans fought and started asking why. The answer disturbed them. Humans did not believe survival was guaranteed. Every human culture carried stories of collapse, of empires that failed, of mistakes that cost millions of lives. Humans grew up expecting systems to break. Alien society did not. The empire was built on stability. Children were taught that the system worked because it was perfect. Failure was rare, isolated, and corrected from above. Humans expected failure. They planned for it. That difference explained everything. On the battlefield, humans assumed plans would fail. So they built backups. And backups for those. When leaders died, others stepped in without pause. When communication failed, units acted independently. Alien forces relied on coordination. Humans relied on continuity. Kareth realized the truth during a small skirmish on the edge of a mining system. Human ships appeared, attacked briefly, and vanished. Alien forces pursued carefully this time, too carefully. The humans had not intended to fight. They had intended to be chased. The alien fleet followed into a region of unstable gravity. Nothing catastrophic happened. No trap was sprung. But the delay allowed human forces elsewhere to strike supply routes across 3 systems. The attack itself was minor. The timing was not. The Empire lost another week. Time, Kareth understood, was becoming the real battlefield. The longer the war continued, the more humans learned. The more aliens slowed. Kareth addressed the Council once more. Humans are not a military threat in the traditional sense, he said. They are a systemic one. The Council demanded clarification. They do not seek decisive battles, Kareth explained. They seek erosion. The Council did not like that word. What do you propose? One asked. Kareth paused. He had no simple answer. Force alone would continue to win battles. But it would also continue to feed human adaptation. Every clash gave humans data. Every victory taught them something new. The Empire could destroy human worlds, but it could not destroy human learning. On the human side, the war had reshaped society. Schools taught strategy alongside history. Civilians learned emergency repairs. Engineers rotated between factories and battle stations. Failure was discussed openly, without blame. Human culture hardened not into cruelty, but into resilience. When alien fleets struck, humans no longer panicked. They moved. Sometimes that movement saved lives. Sometimes it did not. But it always taught lessons. Kareth observed a human transmission intercepted during a retreat. A human commander spoke to his remaining fleet. We're outmatched, the commander said calmly. Good, that means we're still alive. Adjust and move. There was no anger in his voice. No fear, just acceptance. That acceptance frightened Kareth more than any weapon. The Empire attempted a new strategy. They reduced engagements. They tried to starve humans of combat, to deny them learning opportunities. Human attacks continued anyway. Smaller, quieter, smarter. Humans struck where aliens avoided. They attacked sensors, relays, and isolated units. They turned alien caution into weakness. Avoiding battle did not stop humans. It invited them. Kareth stood before a massive star map, watching the slow shift of the war. Alien territory still expanded, but at a crawl. Human territory shrank, but stabilized. 2 forces moved in opposite ways. One had speed and power. The other had patience. For the first time in the Empire's history, patience mattered. The Council finally asked the question no one had dared to voice. Can we win this war? The chamber fell silent. Kareth chose his words carefully. We can destroy humanity, he said, but we cannot control the outcome. That answer unsettled them. Explain, the Council demanded. Humans adapt to destruction, Kareth replied. If we push too far, we risk creating something worse than resistance. The Council understood conquest. They did not understand consequences. Kareth did. He had seen the pattern. Every human disaster created a harder generation. Every loss strengthened their resolve. Victory over humans would not bring peace. It would bring something unpredictable. As the war dragged on, alien commanders began to record something new in their reports. Not fear, respect. They spoke of human persistence, of their refusal to break, of their ability to operate without hope of winning. That was not how wars were supposed to be fought. Yet it was working. Kareth watched a final report from the front. A small alien fleet had encountered human forces and chosen to withdraw without engagement. No damage, no losses. Just caution. The Empire had learned restraint. Humans had forced it. And in doing so, they had achieved something no species ever had. They had changed how the alien empire thought. The war was no longer about conquest. It was about what came after. And for the first time, the empire did not know the answer. The war did not end with a final battle. There was no last stand, no great explosion, no moment where the galaxy held its breath and watched a victor rise instead. The war slowed. Alien fleets still existed. Human forces still prepared for attacks. But the space between battles grew wider. Weeks passed, then months. Then longer still, the galaxy noticed the change. Trade routes reopened carefully. Border systems that once expected invasion found only silence. Old listening stations detected movement but no advance. Hi, strategist. Kareth stood in the same war chamber where the conflict had begun. The walls still showed maps of conquered space. Victory symbols still marked thousands of systems, but the symbols near human. Space no longer moved. The Empire had reached a line it did not. Kareth addressed the council. One final time, we have evaluated all projections, he said. Continued war offers diminishing returns. The council listened in silence. We can destroy more human worlds, Kareth continued. But doing so increases instability. Human adaptation will accelerate. Their tactics will spread. Their resistance will harden. And if we stop? One counselor asked. We lose nothing we can replace, Kareth replied. But we gain something we cannot calculate. The council understood conquest. They now understood risk. The decision was made without ceremony. Alien fleets received new orders. Hold positions. Do not advance. Do not provoke. Across the front, alien commanders obeyed. When human scouts detected the change, disbelief spread first. Traps were prepared. Ambushes were set. Nothing came. Human commanders waited. Nothing happened. Slowly, reality settled in. The aliens were no longer pushing. Human society adjusted again, as it always had. Shipyards shifted from emergency repair to long-term rebuilding. Training continued, but with a different focus. Not survival, readiness. On damaged worlds, humans rebuilt without glory. Cities rose where ruins once stood. Memorials were small. Names were long. Humans did not celebrate, they remembered. Kareth continued his studies. He reviewed the entire war from first contact to the present silence. The data was clear. Humans had lost more ships, more worlds, more lives. And yet, the Empire had changed course by every alien measure. Humans had failed by every meaningful one. They had succeeded. Kareth recorded his final analysis. Sealed for the highest archives. Humans do not win wars by conquest, he dictated. They win by endurance. They do not seek dominance. They seek survival, and through it, leverage. The record continued. Human danger lies not in their strength, but in their response to loss. Each defeat refines them. Each sacrifice sharpens their will. Prolonged conflict favors them. The archive closed. Years passed. New generations grew up on both sides of the border. Alien children learned revised history. They were taught caution when studying humanity. Not fear, respect. Human children learned stories too. Not of victory, but of standing. They learned that the galaxy was not kind. That survival required effort. That giving up was never an option. The border between human and alien. Space became something strange. Stable, no treaty was signed. No peace declared. But neither side crossed the line. Occasionally, alien ships passed nearby. Human sensors tracked them. Weapons stayed silent. The understanding was clear. Then one day, a small alien research vessel requested permission to enter human space. No weapons. No fleet, just observers. Human leadership debated. Old wounds still burned. But the decision came quickly. Permission granted. The vessel entered slowly, carefully. Kareth was aboard. He stood on the viewing deck as the ship passed through human-controlled space. He saw rebuilt worlds, active shipyards, civilian traffic moving freely, no signs of fear, no signs of weakness. At a neutral station, Kareth met a human representative, not a general, not a ruler, an engineer. They spoke without ceremony. "You stopped," the human said simply. "Yes," Kareth replied. "Why?" Kareth considered the question. "Because continuing would change us," he said, "and not for the better." The human nodded. "That happens." There was no anger in the room, no pride. Just understanding. When Kareth returned to the Empire, his final report was brief. "Humans are not conquerors," he wrote. "They are limits." The galaxy adjusted. Other species watched and learned. Some stood taller. Some prepared harder. None forgot. The alien empire continued to exist. So did humanity. And somewhere in the quiet space between stars, a new rule spread without being written. Humans did not win every battle. They won something far more lasting: the right to be left alone and in a galaxy built on conquest. That was the greatest victory of all.